Thank you, Coach Ludwig. Next up, women's basketball head coach Lisa Carlsen. Coach Carlsen enters her 9th season here in DeKalb. She's second all-time in coaching wins of the program with 119. Huskies have made the MAC tournament in Cleveland each of the last 3 seasons. They played in a national postseason tournament for the first time since 2017 last year. The Huskies host Ripon College for their exhibition on November 4th. And as Sean Frazier mentioned earlier, don't forget Husky Madness coming up this Thursday. Coach Carlsen.
Thanks, Mike. Good morning, everybody. It's great to be here. You know, Sean mentioned when he was talking about this time of year being exciting because it's really where everybody meets in the middle, right? Fall sports are doing their thing, preparing for postseason, and basketball competition is right around the corner. You know, for us, we have our student athletes here most of the summer and all the way through the end of the school year. So when it gets closer and closer to time to put on a uniform, there's just a different level of excitement for sure. I want to start by thanking Sean for the opportunity to lead this program. You know, having a chance to coach women's basketball, especially now at this time, and the growth that has happened in women's basketball, especially in the last year or so, it's just a really special time for our sport, right? I also want to thank our new senior associate, Chris Barker, who's going to help me through everything this year, which is going to be awesome. It's been nice to have him on board as our sport administrator for women's basketball. I have to for sure mention Huskies Invest and mention Husky Madness on Thursday. It's a big week for the athletic department all the way around. You know, we've really been able to drum up, I think, great support within the community and within our alumni base for what's going on across the board departmentally. There's some great projects out there that I think we can support, and then obviously some great programs where you can really help individually during Huskies Invest. So I encourage everybody to do that. I do want to start by introducing my staff, some familiar faces, some new faces, and I think it's good to recognize them for what they do. Adam Tandez, my associate head coach, is in his 8th year with me. He's involved really in all facets of the program, but especially running our offense, and he coordinates our recruiting efforts. Jane Hengesbaugh, who is in her 5th year, leads our cultural programming and also coordinates our defense. New to our program this year, an assistant coach, Imani Gordon. Mani was at Notre Dame College for the last 6 years, and then before that she was an outstanding student athlete at Cleveland State. So we're excited to have Imani on board helping us out. Caitlin Connor is our new director of basketball operations. Caitlin's been here since the summer, has really hit the ground running when it comes to all the organizational things that go on within our program. She's been a great addition. Deja Weathersby is a 2nd-year graduate assistant for us, and then Maya Shannon is in her 1st year as a graduate assistant. So that kind of rounds out my staff. A little bit about the upcoming season. We've had a great summer. You know, Trevor Boyd, who is our strength and conditioning coach, really starting back in June especially, has put our players in great position to be in tremendous shape. You know, they've gotten bigger, they've gotten stronger, and they've definitely gotten faster, which will be a big part of what we're doing going forward in our style of play, really getting back to playing with great pace, being able to run up and down the floor, shoot the 3, and be really effective from outside the arc. And I think we've seen that day after day in practice. And then we've gotten an opportunity against some outside competition to really kind of instill that and see if it's going to work. And I can tell you I feel really good about where we're at right now offensively. Defensively, we'll need to be a little bit more aggressive in order to, again, play that style of play, turn people over, create possessions, and I think we have the personnel to do that. And both of those things put together means you better be really good on the glass, right? You have to be a good rebounding team in order to get your offensive transition started. We've been one of the top teams in the MAC in the last few years as far as rebounding is concerned, and it's something that we'll definitely look to stay towards the top in that category as well. One thing that we talk to recruits about what does it that makes our program special. One thing that we talk about is player development, and I think this year you'll see more than ever really that kind of come to fruition. We have players that have been in our program for a number of years who maybe haven't seen a ton of playing time that will now be in positions that they haven't been in before. And I'm really happy for them, and I'm really excited for them to showcase some of the things that they have grown within our program. And you're probably going to watch us play, and you're going to be like, I don't really remember who that player is, but all of a sudden, statistically, they're really going to stand out. And so I think that bodes volumes to what my staff has been able to do from a development standpoint, and really the dedication to our student athletes who came in as freshmen and are going to go out, like Sean mentioned, as graduating seniors, and the faith that they've put in this program and in this staff in order to get and reap the rewards of both graduation and success on the basketball court. I can tell you that this group is extremely vocal and high-spirited, and they will be fun to watch. It makes them fun to coach on a daily basis. It's not a quiet group, and they love to play, and you'll see their enthusiasm on the court when they do that. We do return a roster with a great deal of experience. 10 of our 13 on the roster right now are upperclassmen. 6 of those players started at some point for us last year playing double-digit minutes, so we're excited about that type of experience returning to the floor. A couple of new faces that I want to highlight. Jade Van Hefty is a graduate transfer from Arizona State that will play the forward position for us. You know, somebody who is kind of coming back home. She's from the Chicagoland area. She really adds depth to the forward position for us, which was vacated with quite a few people who graduated in that position last year. And she fits very well into what we want to do. She loves to play defense. Her physicality will definitely be present with the experience that she's had in the Pac-12. Versatile, can get up and down the floor, all those things that we're looking for at that forward position. And then we have 2 incoming freshmen who we feel are going to have great careers here as Huskies, both coming from really good high school programs. Shannon Blotcher is coming from Montini Catholic. They know nothing but winning over there, so she's been a great addition and has really stepped in and been very college-ready physically. I think probably her biggest attribute right now is she can really defend. She's a strong, bigger guard who can do a lot of things for us. And then Maddie Fay comes from Fremd, again, another like perennial power at big schools in the Chicagoland area. She is a bull in a china closet, right? She's super strong, doesn't care if she runs through people, and right now we're not trying to temper that at all. You know, hopefully she doesn't foul out of every game that she plays in early. But she is somebody who we have seen get better every single day. And a lot of coaches will stand up here and tell you about their young kids, and they'll say, yeah, they get better every day. But Maddie is such a shining example of that because she's been coached. She is a smart player, and she just wants to get better. So she's a sponge, and we see her growth, like I mentioned, pretty much every time she steps on the court. The other thing that I'm really proud of with this group and really all of the groups that I've coached while I've been here is we've been able to retain our student athletes, and because of the player development piece, we see them grow into different roles on the court. But we also see a very strong culture within our program where they're driven by the right reasons, right? They care about each other. They're going to go to battle with each other. And I think we see that as they foundationally continue to grow in their roles. So those are 2 things, again, in the recruiting process that we talk about all the time, player development and culture. This is a program that's always going to be based on 4-year players. We're going to bring in freshmen that we believe can help us early in their careers. And then because of the experience we're able to give them, we're going to see them grow and hopefully walk across the stage as Huskies. We have had some success in the portal, as all programs will. Especially with plugging positions where we need to increase some depth, but we're a little bit careful, making sure that we don't compromise our standards because of that. So I think the blend of new faces and returning players for us is a huge asset for this year's roster. If you look at our non-conference schedule, I think it's a great blend of games that are going to get us prepared for the MAC. We get an opportunity to start off with our first exhibition game on November 4th against Ripon College, which is always exciting for the first time to put a uniform back on, play in front of your fans, and really get a feel for game day excitement. And then our regular season opener is on November 9th against Arkansas State in the Sun Belt Challenge. Something new to the MAC this year is a challenge with the Sun Belt, so we get an opportunity to go to a Sun Belt school, and then we will have a Sun Belt school coming back to us in February, both in men's and women's basketball, so I think it's a great addition to our schedule. Our regular season home opener will be November 21st. Again, one you won't want to miss. It's our only opportunity to be at home in November, so I'm excited about that competition against Lindenwood. Then we're going to go away for the weekend and go to Puerto Rico over Thanksgiving, get an opportunity to play Radford and Indiana State in Puerto Rico, and then quickly return and go to Madison to play the Badgers to round out November on the 29th. The other familiar regional opponents that you'll see, again, familiar faces to people that we've played in the past. We have Western Illinois, Eastern Illinois, Southern Indiana, SIUE. Like I mentioned, Lindenwood is at home, Detroit Mercy, and then Concordia Chicago will round out our non-conference schedule. If you look ahead to the MAC, anybody who tries to predict what's going to happen in the MAC is generally wrong, but I can tell you that Toledo does return pretty much everybody from their championship team from last year, so I think they're the ones that will wear the biggest target. We do have 4 new head coaches in the league this year, which is the first time that that's happened in quite some time, and also with the transfer of a lot of high-name profile people in the league, there's a lot of question marks. Which is great for a team like us because our expectations are to fight to be in for sure the top half, get to Cleveland, and make some noise. I think that's about all I have. So what questions do you have for me?
You mentioned rebounding, how important that's going to be. Obviously, with Asia moving on, how is that shaping up, and how is that boy being fulfilled?
Yeah, we depended a lot on Asia last year to kind of clean everything up, right? And so our rebounding approach will be a little bit more by committee. I think the good thing from a style of play standpoint is there's going to be less teams that really try to get you on the offensive glass, right? They're going to get back in transition. So I think that will help some. But we have a lot of experience returning and understanding how critical that is to both sides of the basketball for us. And so it's something we preach every day. It's something that this team takes a lot of pride in. I do think we will be a good offensive rebounding team as well, which will help with possessions. But, again, we've been able to be pretty consistent there, and we haven't been just one-dimensional. So I think we'll be, transitioning back to being a little bit more by committee. But I feel pretty good about where we're at right now in that area. A couple people that come to mind, I think, especially because they haven't played a ton for us. First is Brooke Stonebreaker. She's the tallest player on our roster at 6'3", left-handed. She's had the pleasure or displeasure the last 3 or 4 years of having to battle Asia in practice, right? And I think that has made her so much better. She has grown leaps and bounds when it comes to her confidence. She's also one of the strongest players we have, and so the weight room confidence breeds to court confidence, and I think that's what we see with Brooke. Another player that kind of comes to mind is Courtney Drake, somebody that out of junior college was a really prolific three-point shooter, didn't get a ton of time for us last year. But a lot of times junior college players that second year or even transfers that second year is where you really see them blossom, right? They have a much better familiarity with what the expectation is. And what we've seen from Courtney is really someone who can fill it up from behind the arc. And so I'm expecting big things from her.
I know health-wise has been an issue over the last couple of years. Is there anything you guys have been able to do to address that, or is it just come down the luck, or is there anything you guys are doing?
Well, it's something we address all the time, right? It's our responsibility to continue to put our student athletes in the best position to stay healthy, have success, and that's across the board, whether it's how we train, how we eat, how we recover, all of those things. So, yes, it's something that we evaluate all the time. The game of basketball is a physical game, and things happen, and a lot of times there are things that are out of your control, and you hate to be in that situation year after year, but it's part of it, right? And so I think we have done a great job, and administratively they have supported us to, again, look at all facets of player safety and how can we be best be proactive in those areas. And so Again, we've done that, and we're going to continue to do that and evaluate anything that's in our control. But at the end of the day, some of those things really are out of your control. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of players on the roster who are more than capable of being really effective from behind the arc. And I think of not only do we have more players who can do it, but there's going to be more opportunities to do it, right? So if we pick up our pace again and play the possession game, that means you're also going to go deeper. And I think the, second wave or 5 through 10 players that we do have all fit so well into that system. I think that'll make us really hard to guard. And again, if we can be in the best shape possible and kind of wear people out, it's going to give us even more opportunities later in games. All right. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.